What is up, ladies and gentlemen? This is Adam Pecora, and you have tuned in to Requiem for a Tuesday. Thanks for listening. Please rate, review, and subscribe as well if you haven't already. And if you have, hey, click it and click it again. I won't tell anybody. For those of you who follow me on Instagram, at adam.rfat, by the way, you may have seen the Spotify Wrapped for the year. Look, we still got the whole month of December to go, but the numbers don't lie, ladies and gentlemen. We're up across the board. Can't thank y'all enough. Let's just keep it going. Spread the word, share the episodes however you like. And we don't stop till I'm on Rogan. Am I right, everybody? I wonder how that would go, you know? Probably not great. I don't imagine that would be good for me. Or him, frankly. I think I'd crush Are You Garbage, though. So, hey, boys, I'll see you in 3 to 8 years at the pace that we're at. So let's keep it going. And but seriously, thanks everybody who listens. And let's get some more people to do that also. That would be nice for me. And, you know, that's about it really. But that would be nice. Wouldn't it be nice? Wouldn't it be nice if you listened to a popular podcast instead of this one? What if both things could be true? Anyway. Brutal weekend. So, actually, before I get into that, so I'm going to talk just a little bit of football right off the top, just because I got crushed in a bet, and I need to cry about it publicly, probably so I don't develop cancer. But next week, it's go time. Week 14 will be in the books. That'll just leave 15 through 18, so you know what that means. It's the 3-quarter season recap on edibles. So look for that next week before we even start this week. I'm already way ahead of the curve. Look at me. Organized. Intuitive. Shit. Couldn't think of the third word I was going for. And I still can't. Dexterous? I think that's the problem. I was just going to say dexterity, and that, I don't know. It doesn't matter. Whatever. So keep an eye out for that. This weekend, oh my God, I need to stop betting on the Eagles. They crushed me in the Super Bowl. And you know what? It's really just because of, it's not even their fault either time. Truly. In the Super Bowl, the big one that would have just, it would have evened out my whole night in one bet. Kenneth Gainwell touchdown. I knew it. I knew it was going to happen. Sure enough, they review it just because all scoring plays are reviewed. He's an inch short. And of course, they do need to come up with another name than the Tush Push. It is a horrible name. Why have the Eagles not coined a name for it themselves? Why are we all calling it the Tush Push? That's fucking lame and sad, and it sounds pathetic and an embarrassing move. It is literally the most dominant play in football, and the whole thing is that it's a huge physical scrum forward, and it just has a dainty little name. Because it's also so much more. It's like, yeah, the only reason that play works is because somebody's pushing Jalen Hurts. So you got to be out of your fucking mind. That's a wrecking ball, which is a better name. How do we make that Eagles themed? The Liberty Ball. That's not good. See, you saw my logic there, though. It made, you know. We tried. It's a brainstorm. Don't judge me. Can't believe it. Anyway, so that was crushing. Sure enough, Jalen Hurts scores on the next play. Ruins my whole night, let alone them losing the game. Obviously, didn't help. But, they just leave the game whole thing. Also, I noticed everybody's calling him Kenny now. Usually it goes the other way, where like a Johnny becomes a John. Odd that a Kenneth would become a Kenny. But whatever. Hey, to each their own, I suppose. So yesterday, I took it upon myself. I had a multitude of bonus bets, which is just free money. I spent $20. They're like, here's $200. I suppose the traditional thing that would do is just rope you in to gamble, and because then you're going to lose all that money. So you're like, all right, I'll put in some real money and then I'll win because I just need to win. I unfortunately for them, once I'm out, I'm out. So sorry. If you think it's going to retain me to your app, it's just the app I was using anyway. So I don't really know. You know what I mean? Anyway, I see a sweet little deal on there that I was like, okay, this thing was plus 2,500. So you already know that I'm an idiot. Because that's the thing. The reason why the odds were that high is because it shouldn't have happened. Yet I'm on this, I'm doing this right now, recording this, to complain that it didn't happen. The odds were this long. The thing is, I hate that it came as close as it did, is the real problem. If it's like, so it's a 4-leg situation. If only 2 of them or 1 of them, then it's like, well, that didn't even have a chance. The thing is that in each quarter, each one happened. Like halfway through the third quarter, I had 3 of the 4 done. So these were the requirements. And I read this and I was like, this seems like likely to me. Anyway, McCaffrey rushing touchdown. I was worried about that because he could just end up with a receiving touchdown. So that was a little skeptical. Ayuk receiving touchdown. Also skeptical just given their volume of pass catchers. If Purdy only throws 1, the odds of it going to him. Now, in the first quarter, he was visibly angry on a play where he was visibly wide open and Purdy missed him. And I knew they were just going to go back to him on the next play. Like, I just felt it. And they did. And that got reviewed, and that was a little dicey, but thankfully that one stuck. And I was like, great. Off to a great start. Then McCaffrey was next, I believe. The order I forget. Either way. Jalen Hurts rushing touchdown. Also, a lock. And then the other one was A.J. Brown receiving touchdown. They were trying to feed A.J. Brown a receiving touchdown. When Hurts got his, there was a PI in the end zone, so naturally Hurts gets his rushing. So now, I'm left with just A.J. Brown needing a receiving touchdown. There's over a quarter and a half remaining. And the Eagles just sucked. And either way, the next time they got into the red zone, he threw it to A.J. Brown 3 times. And then they got down there at the end for a garbage touchdown, which they didn't even get. Or they did. I don't remember. And then he wasn't even on the field anymore. But they threw it to him 3 or 4 times for potential touchdown plays. They were literally trying to get him a touchdown. It was exhausting. And then Devontae Smith ended up with one. Where it was like they threw it to Brown in the play before or something. It was just tragic. It was like the one time he couldn't catch a touchdown, and he dominated the entire game. He was like 8 for 150. Just truly unfortunate. Truly unfortunate. That would have been a $50 bet that I got for free that would have won me $1,200. So that'll haunt me. See, they haunt me when it's something like that, where it's like the one night the Eagles like really, really don't have it on offense. It's like literally a matter of inches on a couple of those passes. And, I'd be bragging to all you losers instead of joining you. in your shit life. Whatever. $1,200. That would have been a good weekend. You know what I mean? Anyway, what also happened, the fucking college football playoff, Alabama's in. And I think I just agree. Like, we saw it coming, but one, it's like the Alabama run. Like, can we just stop? They beat Georgia. Georgia goes from 1-5, and then Bama goes from 8-4. It's like, I suppose technically those are like appropriate or even jumps or whatever. The thing is just like the team that was at 5 didn't lose. And traditionally that is just how it works, man. It's like you earned your spot, so you keep your spot. There's only leaps. Like 3 never leaped 2 when it was just the BCS title game, unless they beat 1. You know what I mean? Like, and then 1 would fall out. But you know what I mean? You never would just go like 3-2 and then 2-3. Like, those don't just switch. So that's just where it comes from. I think it's just something that people aren't used to having happen, myself included. I think ultimately, like, everybody understands the reasoning. Like, Florida State got fucked because of an injury. I do think that is, like, technically unfair, while simultaneously it being the correct choice in terms of the blanket statement, we choose the best 4, which they're just going to repeat forever and ever and ever. And it's just like, well, you can't, the whole point of this committee is we're the one who picks it, and fuck you. And that's, it's not a great system. It's just not a great system. What should it be? I don't know. I kind of always just thought that the poll should determine it, but that's too skewed and biased and whatever. But, I also think pigeonholing the SEC school, and it's tricky because it's like, well, Alabama lost to Texas. If anything, Georgia should have just stayed in. I don't know. Texas jumped way the fuck up too. It's all very strange. It's like, I just think that they didn't have their rankings appropriate last week. And that's really what it is for me. It's like you didn't do it right leading up to this, and then on the last week, you're just like, well, we'll just pick now. Based on, you know what I mean? It's too broad of a range. I am not too invested in college football to really talk too in depth about it other than that, to be honest. I think if you're Michigan, you should be fucking pissed. Because you jumped to number 1, but you end up with the hardest matchup. It's kind of fucked. That's kind of just on Georgia, I guess. But, Georgia wins, you end up playing the 3. That's a better situation. And they just couldn't put Alabama ahead of Texas because they beat them. It's always just those bullshit things, though. That's fucking college football. It's always just a bunch of tedious little bullshit right at the end. Where it's like, oh yeah, but 9 weeks ago we beat this team. But for one team, that matters a lot. If it's a long time ago, we don't care. But if you lose recently, it doesn't matter. Or it does matter way more. You know what I mean? Probably not. That didn't make any sense. My point is just like, well, Alabama lost to Texas, but that was a long time ago, so they can make it in. Even though Georgia's only lost to Alabama, and it wasn't by that much, but since it was recent, you're just fucked. I've always hated that about college football, that it's like, if you lose one game, as long as it's in the first 3 weeks, you can still win the national title. But if you lose in week 11, even if it's to the same opponent as somebody else, who's, who lost in week 3, since you lost to him in week 11, sorry, you need to win at the end. It just doesn't make sense. Because then everybody's schedule should be easiest to hardest. You know what I mean? And it's a gradual increase. Your ranking should not be dependent on your loss when it occurs. That's always been a huge flaw to me. It's always just way too opinion based, and it doesn't play on results. And I get that it kind of can't, because if you rank them overall, it's like, well, if somebody's undefeated in every major conference, then how does that work? It's fair. I understand all the shortcomings. They're just frustrating. You know? So yeah, I think did they pick the right ones? It's like, I guess. But if Alabama ends up blowing out Michigan, that's just gonna be fucking stupid too. We'd rather just have Michigan blow out Florida State. Now I don't think they're going to. Because also, fingers crossed, Michigan wins the fucking national title and fucking Jimmy Harbaugh comes home to Chicago. I got a whole Bears thing coming next week. It'll be way more fun to do high, so we'll dive into that while I'm on the edibles. But that's what I want, for sure. But I don't really care outside of that. I'm casually rooting for Michigan. That's all I got. I'm going to take them. Probably against Texas, too, to be honest. I don't know why. I just don't feel like... I think it's just I don't trust the Pac-12 ever. Well, they're not even going to be a conference anymore, so that's one thing. But yeah, I just don't see Washington having a shot. I haven't watched them, though. So that's the thing. This is where it's like, Adam, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about? 100%. I think that's also just my historic college football instinct to just be like, yeah, of course Texas beats Washington. Just like, why wouldn't Texas beat Washington every time, no matter who's suiting up? But I mean, yeah, to both jump 4 spots is just crazy to me. And for Georgia to drop 5, it's, I don't know, man. I think that that's just pretty fucked up. But ultimately, like I said, it's ironic that it's ultimately probably the right choice. It just shouldn't be a choice, like I'm saying. So we'll see. But if Michigan beats Bama, I think that they should cruise against either team. But again, I don't know shit about Texas really either. I just know that everybody thinks that guy shaving his mullet means he showed a lot of matureness and growth. And it was all just really cringy. Who cares if he shaved his mullet? You know? He can still work on his mechanics and have a mullet. Like, there's nothing wrong with him having a mullet. Everybody was so upset by that. It's fucking stupid. So, if you were one of those guys that was like, look at this crazy kid with his fucking haircut. It's like, grow the fuck up, man. But I guess it took both for him to become a good quarterback. If you have a mullet and you're a quarterback, you'll never make it. So. So we'll see what happens. Don't quote me on anything, like I said, because it really, I don't know. But it is just fucked. Like, I couldn't not talk about it. Like, I can only imagine how frustrating it is if, 1, you're an FSU fan, or even 2, just like a truly plugged in college fan who like loves this shit to an extreme degree, and you're like, I can't wait for the playoff and whatever. Like, I'd be pissed just like at the integrity of the game, frankly. I think especially because it's Bama too, it's like, oh, of course, you're fucking on their side again. Like, Bama hasn't gotten into enough of these fucking things. I don't know. SEC always has to make it. All right, I'm looking at some headlines here. We'll do a little surfing to close this out. I don't know how much time that's going to be. We might have to do a slightly shorter one today, folks. Might only go 25. Your boy got to get to the zoo. I wish that was a joke. But I'm going to the zoo at night on Monday in the winter. Don't ask. Utah man gored by bison he tried to pet on neighbor's property. I'm just going to make a lot of assumptions here. But regardless, you should know to not approach a bison. There's probably some the problem that I have been finding with a lot of these internet people who make these videos where they're just like, no, I'm going to tell you like the truth about something. Here's a lesson that nobody asked for that I'm just going to teach. And it doesn't make you a teacher and it doesn't make you correct just because you say it in a video and then post it, which it seems like there's this entire generation of people just doesn't get that. It just seems like, oh, well, if it's in a video I'm watching and they're nice and smiling, this is fact. This is gospel. I will follow everything in a spoken video from somebody in a hoodie in some room forever. And right now I'm just talking about walking up, approaching strange animals, let alone, giant humanitarian crises across the world. Where are all the Ukraine war activists? Remember those people? Remember when they said how many times did you read like, we will never stop doing this or sharing this? How much awareness does anyone have about what's going on there anymore? None. It's gone. It's over. We had to jump to a new one, and I'm sure you'll change the channel to something else in 2 weeks also, even though you claim you will fight for this until you're dead. That was a tangent. Anyway, don't approach animals just because there's some guy who's like, oh, look at me, I'm petting a fucking squirrel. It's like, great. You still shouldn't do that, man. They'll get you sick. Oh, actually, squirrels don't carry disease. It's like, why do you need to pet a fucking squirrel so bad, man? It just doesn't matter. It's like, they're out there, we're in here. It's separate. That's fine. Like, they don't know your name. They don't want to know your name. They don't want to have one. They just want the nuts. If there's nuts, they'll come. That's it. And that's nature. Nature can be how it is, Drinking piss isn't good for you. Like all that weird type of shit. You don't have to like rediscover science over again. You're just bored and you want to think you're smart. And not everybody's supposed to be smart. That's fine too. I mean, look at me. I'm clearly brilliant. Doesn't it make sense that I'm talking alone in a room right now? No. But I can say I know it. At least I'm not making videos telling you how to like turn a cardboard box into a fucking planter or whatever. Just buy a planter. Everything isn't, it's not a life hack because you did an arts and craft thing. You know what I mean? Those drive me insane. It's like, oh, did you know pizza boxes were made with these corrugations so you can fucking fold it into a chair? It's like, no, you just figured out a way to do that. Some of those are so insane. It's crazy. How do you even have that much fucking time? People need to drink more water and less coffee. And nobody's aware of it. Christ. Opened my eyes very wide when I figured out like, oh, I haven't been in pain or super hungry or sick. I've just been thirsty. That's it. That's why I'm irritable. That's why I'm I just drink a lot of water. A lot of your problems just go away. And whenever you tell somebody that, they just go, no, what? No, they don't. I won't even attempt it. People get really upset when you try to get them to drink water. It's alarming. I was one of the, I get it, because it was me. I was him. And now I am him, bitch. Because I'm fucking hydrated, okay? How do you think I just sit and spew all this garbage here for 30 minutes straight? Because this throat is coated, baby. I'm lubed the fuck up and ready to let it rip. I'll never get over, though, how, like I was alluding to, it's just like, oh, I have all these alternative sources. And it's like, they're just some Instagram. And it's like, yeah, but that Instagram is plugged into what I want the answers to be. But I don't. But Fox News is a propaganda machine, but not what I get my information from that aligns with what I want it to say. Not that I'm defending Fox News. They absolutely do that, you know? Of course, but not this random Instagram account that I can't trace any of the information from or who posts it or, where or anything, My thing is like, it's, I love knowing stuff, and there's some stuff that's just like, hey, that's not for me to learn about because that takes a lot more effort than just looking at an Instagram. And as I say all the time on here, my overall reasoning for, mentioning any of this or being upset about any of this is just because I would like to just have fun and look at Instagram instead of the word genocide 100 times a day. Who's that for? I just can never wrap my head around it. You have, like, your quote, raising awareness. I've seen you post. Everybody has seen you post it already. You continuing to do it for the same amount of followers, it's not getting any extra reach. Like, if you're aware of how the program works, you have the same reach every time. So it's not benefiting anyone, and you're just clogging it up. Just clogging it up. A lot of negative stuff that may or may not be true, and I may or may not be ignorant for not acknowledging it as one way or the other. But maybe not. And, and maybe you're wrong too. And maybe I'm wrong, and maybe the other people against you are wrong. Maybe. Can it just be maybe? That would be nice. Let's just leave it at maybe. And then there'll be some flood or whatever, unfortunately, but there will be. And then that'll be the thing, Remember when you were never going to give up until Breonna Taylor had justice? I haven't brought that up in a while. That just sounds mean, but, think about it. Remember when you claimed that person? Some person? Not good. Not a good look now, because you definitely gave up. It is unfortunate what happened there, obviously. Not a good time to laugh either. But whatever. You get the fucking point. So fuck off. You listened to the wrong show. If you want me to apologize for simply getting my point across, I won't do it. I can't, and I won't. All right. That was a good ramble. I looked at one headline. How'd that turn into all that? I just had a lot to get off my chest, I think. So, glad I got to do that. Look at me. Just making myself feel better one day at a time. So yeah, share this. Come on. Spread this gospel out. Is that the problem? Is that I'm not doing this with a nice tone and preaching to you like I'm smarter than all of you instead of just expressing. Never mind. You get it. Anyway, rate, review, and subscribe, and share, and let's get the numbers bigger and better than ever 2024. Obviously, we didn't hit the absurd goal that I had to double again after doubling the previous year over year. That was never realistic anyway, so thanks to everybody one more time for doing what you do and listening, and keep it up. Let's keep it going. There's merch. Check out all the links in the description below. Follow me on Instagram, adam.rfat, all the stuff. And I'll be back next week on Edibles to talk about the NFL. So those have been big hits. So no reason to stop, and I'll keep doing the edibles, no problem. Don't forget, I are fat, you are fat, we are fat. Calculator.